Let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you did do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bringing incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a mentor and a coach for CEOs, speakers, authors. He is also a talk show host on NBC. Please welcome Mitch Carson. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, and it's a privilege to be interviewed by a consummate bro.
Consummate bro. I like that. Thank you. I'll take it. That's a compliment. That's a compliment.
Wear it.
Should we tell the audience like the truth? Like we recorded this once and it didn't turn out very well, so we're doing it again.
I love telling the truth. That way our noses stay intact. They don't grow.
That's right. Yeah, unfortunately, we did this once, so this is a redo, and the audio didn't turn out very well. So we are redoing this for you guys, so you can actually get the great full effect of this conversation and all the value that Mitch brings to the table. So, Mitch, before we get into like all of your stuff, nitty gritty skills that you have, let's talk a little bit about the journey that got you from to where you are today.
Happy to. I never aspired, my background, just in short order, is I've been an event producer, meaning live in-person events. I have to make that distinction today because there are virtual events, which are, of course, a product of the pandemic. Well, really mushroomed it from the pandemic. Yeah. There were virtual events, which were not as popular as they are today. They're here to stay. So I've produced events all over the world. I've spoken on stages in 63 countries, and it didn't start out that way. I never aspired to be a speaker, never aspired to be an extrovert, and I'm still very introverted. And this is outside of my comfort zone to go and publicize myself, which is quite ironic because I have a talk show on NBC where I cover amazing authorities. I'm going to have to get you on there one day, and I'm able to profile and learn from other people. And I've got one of the best jobs in the world because I get paid to learn. Yeah. I get paid because all these experts that I interview know far more about their field of study, their interest, their hobby, their passion than I do. Yeah. And I get illuminated daily by different people. I'm sure you can concur. Oh, yeah. We become smarter by the minute because of all the interviews we do. And it's a matter of tapping into the expertise. And my journey was found by accident, to get into the speaking side of the business. And I've owned a couple businesses, which I've sold to publicly traded corporations. I've retired a couple times. And then I realized I'm too young and too bored to allow my brain to turn into mush. And I'm going to work until I push up daisies. Yeah, I love that. It's been a journey. One thing I learned about the speaking business, and the same holds true for podcasts. We're having a conversation today, and you could be selling me something, or I could be selling something to you. That's one-to-one. Yeah. The power of leverage, meaning one-to-many selling, is the key that opened my mind and opened my wallet to allow it to be filled with bills. Yeah, I love that. Because one-to-many is a way of leveraging your message one time to many people, many wallets opening up, cards coming in, QR codes being scanned, and giving you compensation for dispensing information to a hungry crowd that wants what you're offering. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And just to kind of highlight what you said about getting paid to learn, my guests, like yourself, are fascinating individuals, and I absolutely love the high level conversation where they share so much of their expertise and their journey. And I feel blessed daily to be able to not only have a platform to talk to them on and share their expertise, but to be able to learn from them. Right. Well, and you get paid to do so. it's an odd, you've got one of the best jobs in the world. I've got a great job also. I get paid for people to teach me.
Yeah.
And, and then, of course, I provide commensurate value that is oftentimes multiplied many times more, giving them the exposure, the platform that they need. And you're doing a very similar job. You use some different platforms, but we're essentially doing the same thing.
Yes.
I get a great deal of personal gratification, satisfaction, and mental expansion through my work.
Yeah.
You probably have similar feelings.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So let's highlight what you're going to teach me today.
Okay. All right.
So you started off doing live events, right?
Yeah.
Now I believe you still do some events, right?
Oh, I still produce events. I'm off
Yep.
to Singapore next month
Yeah.
to go produce 2 events over in Singapore, which is a very lucrative market for me. I've produced events in, I think, 19 different countries and have spoken myself as a professional speaker in 63.
Wow. That's
Traveled the globe many times, over 3.5 million miles in the air. So
Yeah.
I know the speaking and events business quite well because I've experienced it. I've lived it, traveled it, put speakers on stages all around the globe, been able to allow them to come out of their shell and experience sides of themselves they've never thought possible until they met me. And then it was able to embrace their greatness in different markets. Because oftentimes, if we break out of our cocoon of being in America, we're both Americans here.
Yeah.
But my world opened up dramatically when I went overseas. Because the thinking we're indoctrinated with living in the US is quite limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we only represent 4% of the world's population.
Wow.
And we're lacking 96% of the learning that can exist outside of our borders. It makes me appreciate American life even more. I've lived in 7 different countries and I've created these events in different ones. I'm back home, feel great about it, but my mind has been expanded by the exposure to different cultures, religions, people, understandings. And I think it's made me a smarter human being.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. And so now everything that you've done and you've accomplished and experienced, now you've parlayed this into being a mentor and coach to other people that, like you say, qualify to be on the stage, be on your show. So what did that look like as you started going from doing live events yourself to starting to coach and mentor people to actually step on the stage? Because that's a pretty scary thing. And I think it takes a certain individual to actually make that successful for themselves.
Oh, it's very scary. It's man's number one fear. I'm just generalizing all sexes. As in this world of pronouns, I could be in trouble with what I say.
Don't worry.
It's a human's biggest fear of standing on stage and speaking to a crowd of people that are sitting there judging them. It's more scary than drowning or burning in a fire.
Yeah.
Or getting a divorce, being married to a lawyer. All of that. I was married to a lawyer in the past.
I remember we talked about that before.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So, but not really. And speaking was where I started.
Okay.
Then I became an event producer. Then I became a speaker trainer. They came in tandem.
Yeah.
I don't speak as much as I used to now. Most of my involvement is helping others because I don't want to travel like I used to. I mean, I was on an airplane every week for years. And it's taxing.
Yeah.
And at my mature age now, I like a little more routine and I don't want to.
Well, you're 30. Come on, let's be real.
Oh gosh, I love you so much. You're getting a Christmas present just for that comment alone. It's coming soon, early.
Okay, great.
But speaking is the ultimate vehicle for 1, to build your confidence, second, to build your credibility, and number 3, to leverage your message, your impact, your hobby, your passion to a group of people in mass.
Yeah.
We're doing this today because many people will listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
And then they'll respond to it. And I will be exposed to your group of people. And then you'll be exposed to mine because I will take the recording. That's how you grow through exposure.
Yeah.
You just don't know where the mud's going to stick.
Right. Yeah.
And you throw it at the wall, that old expression,
yes,
throw it at the wall and see where it sticks. That's media.
Yeah.
Because if you do one-to-one, picking up the phone, calling, how boring, how taxing, how ineffective.
But that doesn't really work anymore these days. I think that's played out.
It's played out. I would say it's played out. People still do make a living that way. Deals are closed over the phone. Great. I remember I was a stockbroker once upon a time on Wall Street for Merrill Lynch, and I would pick up the phone and smile and dial. I had a mirror in front of me to make sure I was smiling when I was calling Mr. Smith and saying, Mr. Smith, my name is Mitch Carson from Merrill Lynch. I'm calling to earn your investment business. I said that no less than 100 times per day.
I bet.
Same pitch. I remember it many, many, many years later. Who I am, this is what I'm offering, and then silent. It's like rolling the pen to close the deal.
Yeah.
Let them sign it. Don't say a word. Let them respond. I'm not interested. Or what do you got?
Yeah.
Which was what we're hoping for.
Right.
And
exactly.
and the same holds true. What we're doing is a form of selling. It's marketing and selling blurred a little bit, where we are sharing our expertise, our knowledge with a group of people. And if their interest is piqued, they're going to raise their hand and reach out to us.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what I like about this medium of this form of media is that it's evergreen. And so it's constantly out there, and depending on what people are searching for, they could land on this a year from now and be like, oh, I need to talk to this guy, or 6 months from now and reach out to you and want to learn more about how they can work with you if they are at that level to step on the stage, write a book, or be on your show, your NBC show.
Yeah, that's what I like about podcasting versus network television. You can leverage that credibility. But they're not going to go and archive and look at past TV shows, but they will look at the archive of podcasts.
Yes.
Because there's a description there. That's where podcasts trump, nice selection of word in election year, trumps the use of network television. Just what you said. It's like a magazine versus a newspaper. The newspaper is TV. Magazines can sit around. They can be next to the bin in the toilet. They can certainly be on the coffee table, and people thought, oh, this is interesting. I think I'll reach out to this person. It's also books.
Yeah.
If you're in a bookstore, I mean, the same holds true. I had a book that was published in 2008, and then I was living in Lima, Peru in 2012.
Okay.
I got a call 4 years later after the book was published. Someone bought it because someone else talked about it on a podcast, mind you.
There you go.
Podcast, and said, my friend Mitch Carson wrote this book on this topic. It was then read by this man who hired me, and it was a contract of 6 months, paying me $16,000 a month consulting for 6 months. And it was 4 years later. That's the value of books.
Yes.
They pick it up. Now, do I have many stories like that? No, I have one.
Yeah. But still, that one story.
Boy, that's very good money.
Yeah. What is that? 16,000 times what? 6?
6. So that's 6 times 96,000.
That's insane.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And it started with a book. It started with a consult, which I was selling for $1,000 for an hour of my time to have a consult with me.
Okay.
And it was in there. And all of a sudden I'm living in Lima, and I get a ping. I had semi-retired at that point. I wasn't even really working. And it came out of nowhere. And I'm not going to say no to money. It was $1,000 that hit my PayPal account.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name, but I then picked up I wrote back, thank you. How can I help? When do you want to set this up?
Sure.
He was so humble and gracious. Got on a call with him and his team of his company. They were running about a $50 million business. And I got on the call, and they said, we want to hire you. They were so impressed with what I shared on this 1 hour consult. We want to respect your time. Should we send another $1,000 for another hour? We need more information. I said, hold off. Let's strike a deal. Let me send you a proposal based on what I think you might need. They said yes to everything. I gave them 2 options. $16,000 included blah, 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 deliverables, or you can get the discounted price of $10,000 a month, and here's what you get. And of course, I made the 16 so irresistible, they signed up for it. And so I made $100,000 essentially over that period of time. Now, here's what happened. I don't know how the energy or the earth works like this, or the universe, or the other thing. All of a sudden, I got 3 more calls that same month, people wanted to hire me. And before you know it, I had over 50 grand in consulting coming in monthly. Just from that.
And that's that's what people aspire to. Like, how can I do that?
It tripped the trick. Well, it came from a book.
Yeah.
Now, they all didn't come from a book. Others, I just happened to make I was retired, remember?
Yep.
I was retired living in Peru, hiking Machu Picchu, living the life of very simple. I was relaxed. I was done. I had gone through a terrible divorce and I wanted to relax. That was the backstory to it. It's like, okay, I'm going to relax. I have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I couldn't say no to the money.
Yeah.
I had enough money, but when 50 grand a month comes in from working part-time, okay, you've got my attention.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I can afford all the food I want. I was fat, and happy living in Peru. And I realized, shoot, I'm going to have to come back to the States and pay each of these people a visit. Well, I only paid a visit to the one guy. I came out and did a 2-day in-office training, and then I disappeared again, and the check still came in for 6 months, and after that, I was done. That was a good reboot, and then after that, I moved to Asia, pocketed that money, and went and lived over in Thailand for a while.
Amazing. Oh, I bet you live like a king there.
Oh, huge. I mean, a very big king. Yeah.
Amazing. So, what you just shared with me, just a question pops up in my head, like the power of media. And so I feel like we are in a day and age that media is so powerful in that you don't have a choice but to be somewhere on either social media, jumping on media. Like, what are your thoughts on that and how people should move forward in such an age where media is almost like necessary?
Okay, I'm going to answer it this way. People ask me, okay, should I hire a PR agency? And the answer is, that's up to you. But if you don't market yourself regularly, you're going to be looking in your rear view mirror regularly, paranoid. Because if you are marketing yourself, getting out there on a daily basis, follow the Italian racing strategy. Rip off the rear view mirror. Just look what's forward. They'll never catch you. Most companies will stop. They don't understand the importance of continuing to feed that marketing mouth. You've got to put that coal into the furnace in order to keep the house warm. Keep pushing. Don't give up. Put the firewood in the stove. Keep the house. You live in Chicago. You know what I'm talking about. Without it, you're going to freeze. And if you freeze, you can't proceed. Freezing isn't good in sub-zero weather. So keep that fire. Keep that fire going and constantly feed it, and it'll pay for itself. That's how exponential growth takes hold, is it's constant. You just don't advertise once and say, oh, it didn't work for me. You got to test different platforms and see what works for you. Is TV for everybody? Absolutely not. Is it for people of possibly your age group all the way through my age group? Yes. We grew up with it. But people that are under 30, TV may not be applicable. Might not be. Maybe some of the platforms you talked about with Roku, Netflix, there. But network television isn't appropriate. So it's important to maintain message to market integrity.
For sure. I think that's probably why I've been so successful with the show, is that I understand that concept
very well,
that you have to constantly you have to market yourself. And I do a lot of PR. I reinvest in the show constantly because you could easily just disappear in the background if you don't, number one, have a strong brand, know what branding is, and have a strong message, and keep yourself in front of eyes constantly.
Right. I mean, that's why you're expanding. You're going into you have the television network that you work with, and that is great. You're going into radio. That's great. You just don't know where the mud's going to stick.
It's going to stick somewhere, damn it. I'm telling you.
Well, but here's the beauty and the importance of testing is if you're a one-trick pony, if you only advertise and market in Facebook, guess what? That is vulnerability, because at any moment, Facebook can delist your site. It's not your site.
Oh yeah.
It's not your page. You're borrowing it. And I'll tell you the lesson learned for me not too long ago. I had my VA over in the Philippines populating my LinkedIn profile for me. LinkedIn's terms and conditions, you have to do it yourself. She didn't use a VPN, virtual private network, for one of my postings. Well, they delisted my account.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I had 16,000 followers on LinkedIn. I mean, I made a lot of money out of my LinkedIn profile because I got a big list.
Yeah.
Oh, they penalized me. They said, you do this again, you're going to be permanently banned. I was like, I'm so afraid to do anything. But the reality is, it's their platform.
Yeah.
It's their platform. They're not there. You know, I got to follow their rules. It's like when we were kids, you're in my house, you'll follow my rules.
Yeah.
Did your mom say that to you?
Yeah.
Mom,
She did. She did.
I don't know if you have kids or if you said, no, I never had kids either, but I remember my mom still in my ear. It's my house. You'll follow my rules.
Yeah.
Or you don't get out. And I said, fine. At 17, I left. But when I'm 10 years old, when I wanted to fight back, tough.
Yeah.
Okay, you can run away from home and you'll be back here in 10 minutes. And she would just laugh.
Yeah.
You know, how are we going to live without YouTube? Right. How are we going to live without Facebook? We are beholden to them.
Now we are.
There are parents like, you don't like my house, get out.
Yeah, that's true.
Leave. You say my rules.
Yeah, I actually I don't know what happened yesterday. I went to go post something normal. All I really post about is the podcast. I mean, everything I do is surrounded around my business, right? And somehow what I posted, I guess, went against community standards, and I was blocked from posting anything for 24 hours. I'm like, what the heck? I was like freaking out a little bit. I have no idea what it was. I did like a live because I'm doing a in-person event for a women's empowerment event on Friday. So I was just talking about that and telling all the ladies, come join me. I'm going to do live interviews. I'll be
sure.
Blah, 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 blah. And right after I did that live, I was like, I was in the doghouse. I was grounded.
By who? Is this YouTube?
No, it was Facebook.
Yeah, you got spanked.
Yeah, I was grounded.
You got spanked and sent to bed without your supper.
But you know what's funny, Mitch, is it tells you like where you can go see like what you did wrong. It didn't say I did anything wrong. It was the most bizarre thing. Whatever. Anyways, but I agree with that. We have to be very careful, and we're like still in our parents' house with social media. We gotta watch.
We're under their platform, their rules. They can spank us and send us home or send us out of the house, kick us out of the house at any moment.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about like your mentoring and coaching for what you do. You have specific requirements to work with people. So let's like talk about that a little bit and what that looks like for people that are listening that kind of want to reach that next level of PR, marketing, whatever you want to call it.
Sure. It's authority building is really what it is.
Yes.
And there's a formula. Number one, I only work with the following: speakers, authors, and CEOs.
Yes. Okay.
Those are if you are a plumber who's working at Joe's Butt Crack Plumbing, wonderful. Have at it. Okay. Keep cleaning pipes. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, I respect you. That's your career. We need them. I call on plumbers when I need them. I call on electricians, handymen, all of those things that I don't know how to do. I respect their trade.
Absolutely.
But we're not going to be doing business together on my platform.
Yeah.
I only work with speakers, authors, and CEOs. Why? Because I know my market. Those are the people I can help. I can't help but crack Bill, other than helping him pull up his pants.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation. But for my work, it's those people that meet that avatar.
Yeah.
Very strict criteria. If they meet it, then we talk. And then the next is, can you see yourself on live television? Can you see yourself being interviewed in a studio environment?
Yeah.
If not, you're not a fit for me. You need to go and fix your brain first, or fix your mindset, not your brain, your mindset. Let me use the right. So not your brain is probably fine. Your mindset to where you can see yourself. Yes. Then I will train you to be media friendly.
Yeah. And we talked about and we like kind of our first episode that did not do very well as far as we talked a little bit about being media ready, and I loved some of the things that you highlighted, and I was shocked to learn that even people at the CEO level aren't always aware of what that looks like. So
there's sometimes it's small distinctions, but little hinges swing big doors, and you must look at all the fine details, because once you're We start at Little League baseball. Okay. That's maybe writing or you do a live on LinkedIn. Okay. That's okay. Or Facebook. You do that. Okay. Wow. I'm media. I'm cool on camera. People like me. My mom watched me. Granny did too. She stopped sewing. Okay. That's great. That doesn't qualify you to be on network television. It is the major leagues. You start at Little League baseball, then you may play high school baseball, maybe college, then you go to the minors, then you play in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Television is the major leagues.
Yeah.
Full stop. And the all-star game of television is New York.
Okay.
Is New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, to get to the all-star game would be LA, Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas.
Yeah.
Those are secondary. I mean, LA is close to New York, but it still is not New York.
Interesting.
New York you are the World Series winner.
Yeah.
When you swing that bat and you've knocked a home run, that's where you're headed. And in order to get to New York, which is the ultimate, we'd all love to have a show in New York City, wouldn't we? You're a host and a host. Game-changing, life-changing. That is the ultimate. That is the ultimate place as a host with what you do and I do to be placed.
Yeah.
Okay. But I work in the world of reality. That takes major connections. Is it possible? Sure. Yeah. Probable. You've got to tick the boxes to get there.
Yeah.
And it starts with having a good social media presence today. It used to not be that, but it is. You've got to be very good on camera. You've got to envision that you can do this on television.
Oh, yeah.
And for some people, it starts with guesting on your podcast or guesting on others' podcasts to get comfortable with your message, to speak clearly and work with a pro like you and some other people who are quality at doing this, and to baby step it up, where you then maybe do a live radio show, because we all have great faces for radio. And then you do a live radio show and you tick that box, but then to get to play in the major leagues, which is network television, you can go to a recorded program. So if you do screw up, they can retake it.
Right. Yeah.
You get comfortable. Everybody that goes through my media, where I guarantee them 4 networks here in Las Vegas, must go through my strict media training. Without it, you don't get booked.
Yeah.
Simply. We eliminate your ums, yeahs, right.
Yeah.
Like. That's the other one that kills me. You sound like a teenager when you say like. No, you don't. You're not from the Valley. Okay. We're going to speak like an adult here in sound bites, on point. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. So it's time to listen. Your journalist, your broadcast journalist went to school, probably has a master's in broadcast journalism in order to become employed in a big market. This isn't Des Moines. This is Las Vegas.
Right.
They're all professionals. And that means they went to broadcast journalism school. They had to intern for years before they got to get in front. They were permitted the stage of being on live TV. It's an ascension model, proven. It's valuable. There are hundreds of millions of dollars in branding that goes into a TV network. Bigger. It's not 10 million. It's hundreds of millions of dollars to establish the brand of CNN, ABC. That just did the recent debate between Kamala and Donald Trump. That was ABC and the very biased reporters that, of course, were in Kamala's camp.
Yes.
When I
watched. Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, she kicked his butt because she also had the assistance of the 2 reporters. I might piss off some people who are listening.
You're right, though. It was very evident.
Yeah. And I don't care. I don't care. If they don't like me,
I don't care. I don't
talk to your mommy.
Right.
Okay. I come from the world of reality. In order to get then on live TV, where your segments are 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes, depending on the programming, you got to be on point.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be ready for this. You don't wing it. You don't say, yeah, I've done podcasts. I've been interviewed before. I was interviewed in my school newspaper. Wonderful. How many years ago was those, though?
That was great.
I mean, I'm sorry. Your high school newspaper doesn't count. Not even the junior high one. All right. You're now in the big leagues You got to be prepared.
Right. I would agree.
Why we prepare? There's no dress rehearsal. You get ready for this.
Yeah. I think that's very important because your image on TV is going to probably stick with you forever. And it's very interesting. And I know I'm guilty of it sometimes, that a lot of people use filler words.
Yes.
And they don't even, I don't think they even realize it, because I'll catch myself sometimes and I'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because I'm a talk show host, podcast host, whatever you want to call it. And I find myself doing that sometimes, and I try not to, but it's hard. Those filler words I think are a nervous reaction to something that, yeah.
It's just called, here's what I share when I conduct my speaking trainings. People say, what am I supposed to say? It's called the power of the pause.
Right.
People will lean in. You can't overuse it because you'll annoy people. Sometimes you say nothing.
Right.
You'll watch them lean in. You can lower your voice like this, almost to a whisper, used every so often, not throughout the speech. Some people that talk like this, okay, maybe they said something, it was to illustrate a point. But if you do that constantly, you're going to irritate an audience.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pausing is accepted. Raising and lowering your voice is also accepted. There are many techniques to use in order to keep the audience hooked into you. Those filler words, Toastmasters helps beat that out of you. That helps people get over the ums and the ahs. For beginning speakers, they're not professionals. Toastmasters does not groom professional speakers. I need to be very clear about that. It's a completely different skill set. They teach people to speak for about 7 minutes, and they're good. They do use humor and structure. Nice. And they beat out of you the ums, you knows, and and right. That's the other one, right? When people say that, I want to say left. No, it's not right. It's left.
So is that what you were thinking when I said it?
Yeah. You know what I mean? That was one that I used as a kid, and my friend's father, I was explaining my symptoms to him, and he was a doctor, and I said, you know what I mean? He says, no, I don't know what you mean. You're telling me.
I haven't heard that expression in a while. That used to be very popular.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. You're telling me. And that was his, and I never forgot his feedback. It stung me. And from that point, I never did it again. But I want to share a tip with your audience. How do you eliminate or minimize the use of the filler words? Step 1, record yourself.
Ooh,
Step 2, you are the harshest judge there is. If someone were to hire me as a consultant to review their speech, sure, you can pay me and do it. I'm going to be effective. I'm going to be great because I know my craft.
Yeah.
You'll be better 100% of the time because you will be harsher on yourself. And you learn through pain causes change. Discomfort will cause the change to where you are comfortable speaking. You go through that process of recording and saying, all that, yeah. Somebody came out and we were doing a practice before you go on TV. And I said, tell me about what your journey is with your book, or what your journey was with your book and what brings you here today. Yeah. I said, time out, stop. You don't start with, yeah. What are you?
Really not.
Yeah. Yeah. With this head going.
You're just eating something. It was good.
Yeah. Who's yeah? Oh, I said, who's
Oh, my Lord.
I got to stop right here. And I played back the recording. Guess what happened when we got him on live TV? He didn't do it.
Well,
so I recorded him and I pointed it out and I saw his face contort. I said, stop sounding like a child. You're 36 years old. Get over it. Okay. This was cool when you were in high school. All right. You're with your buddies. You're an adult now, right? I used the right word. Yeah. Yes or yes.
It's very effective when you put it that way, because nobody wants to look unprofessional. And, we don't realize that it's subliminal.
And you sound unintelligent.
Right. Exactly.
Work on your elocution. Pronouncing the words correctly.
Yes.
It will pay for itself.
How long is your media training?
An hour?
Oh, that's it? You can eliminate the ums and yes and all the filler words
in an hour. in an hour, one-on-one. They go through the first part and then they practice, and then we get on, and then we do the live recording, and then we go back and redo it. So we'll go through the session. I'll hit record, and we'll go back and review it together.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's not too.
And then we do one more before they actually go on TV. Okay. And it's thorough. I have got to vet before I produce or recommend someone. I don't put somebody in without being vetted. No way.
At your stage in the game, yes, I could see that that's necessary. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more of working with you, Mitch, if they want to get to this next level of exposure of working with you?
I've got the perfect URL, getinterviewedguaranteed.com/meet with Mitch.
Excellent.
Getinterviewedguaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. That's where we'll set up and evaluate your media, and let's see if it's a fit for us to work together or not.
Awesome.
But that'll go into the show notes.
Absolutely. Well, definitely, you guys, that'll be in the show notes. And then still on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You guys, I'll put those
official.
Yeah, I'll put those links. I'll put those links in the show notes, so don't hesitate to reach out to Mitch. If you are a CEO, author, speaker, and you want to reach that next level, he is not playing. So this is the man you want to get in touch with. So go click those links, go give him a follow on LinkedIn, and start the conversation. Mitch, this is a part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
If you want to get into the media, I get asked this question: what's the quickest way? I'll give 3 very quick tips. Number 1. Find a trending topic. Right now, anything AI is relevant.
Yes.
Number 2, you can find a current fad. Right now is a trend a topic that will fall after November, anything related to the upcoming election. Third, always use a media calendar. Look it up. That means what's going on this month in the media. What are they showcasing? And the same holds true for written publications. There's a media calendar. We're about ready. It's all Halloween coming up next.
Oh, yeah.
Back to school is over. We're going into the holidays. Do you have any tips or techniques that will mitigate the problems of lights for pets?
Sure.
If you are talking about pet care or children getting electrocuted, how to not get electrocuted with Christmas lights. This is an example, these are a bit extreme, or if you've got a leadership technique that is cutting edge right now, and what we're looking for with leaders, and how you would let's say, not diagnose or synopsize the leadership skills or paraphrase the leadership skills of Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Whoa, if your leadership book read, yes, who's a better leader and why? Using objective criteria. Oh boy, would you get news for that?
Absolutely. I would want to read that or listen to it. That would be good. Well, yes. Mitch, as always, never a dull moment with you. We could go for hours, I'm sure, with this conversation, but we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and what it takes for someone to be successful within the media space, and sharing the offerings that you offer for them to reach that level. So we appreciate you.
Well, great. Thanks for having me, and I'm sure we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.